Gigi here, and this is Let's Build. If this is your first time, I build a Lego set, time to different media, and talk about the facts concerning the topic of the build. Today's build is the Lego Pokemon Pikachu and Pokeball versus Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. All footage I am using is for science, educational, and research purposes. My content is transformative and protected under fair use. All footage is time lapse with commentary. I apologize in advance for pronouncing any names or places incorrectly. This is week 11 of braces. Spoilers ahead, you have been warned. Specifications of the Lego set. Relive trainer memories with the Pikachu and Poké Ball building kit. Construct this piece of gaming room decor and capture that feeling when you first went into battle with this cute Pokemon by your side. A gift for adults who love cute gaming accessories and video game merch. This 2050 piece Lego set is packed with Pokemon details. A colorful piece of gaming room decor. This yellow Pikachu model, with its black ear tips and red cheeks, has a tail that can be built to show it in male or female version. Other iconic details include lightning sparks symbolizing the energy stores of this electric type Pokemon, and the 25 incorporated on the display base as a nod to Pikachu's Pokedex number. The posable figure can be displayed in a dynamic battle stance launching from the opened Pokeball, which can also be displayed closed when the Pikachu figure is in resting pose. Enjoy enhanced building with the LEGO Builder app, zooming and rotating your build while saving and tracking progress. This desk decor building kit is part of a range of LEGO sets for adults that brings together two beloved global brands for the first time to form one epic collaboration. This 2050 piece Pikachu gift of a Pokemon model figure with display stand measures in over 13.5 inches tall, 10.5 inches wide, and 15.5 inches deep. Pokedex entry. Bio. It keeps its tail raised to monitor its surroundings. When it is angered, it immediately discharges the energy stored in the pouches in its cheeks. Lego Pikachu does not like being confined in its box and thrives best out in the open. Once a trainer, always a trainer. You felt the thrill of your first catch and were instantly pulled into a new world full of shared adventures that lasted days, months, and even years. And now you can relive some of the most memorable milestones of your trainer journey in LEGO form. We worked closely with the Pokémon Company International to build some of the most beloved and iconic characters. If you grew up with Pokemon in the 90s, we hope these sets will reignite the wonder of your first steps into this incredible world. If you're just discovering your journey, you can train, bond, build, and grow alongside your chosen Pokemon. Experience epic battles with your Pokemon. They're just waiting to burst out of their boxes and embark on this journey with you. For your trainer journey. Each step on your trainer journey is full of anticipation, experiencing bonding moments, how you learn to prepare your Pokemon for its first battle, and how you can help it grow stronger. You can start or pick up your training wherever you like with these LEGO Pokemon sets. Which one will you add to your team next? Battle with Pikachu. For fans around the world of all ages, Pikachu is a beloved Pokemon icon and held with a deep affection and nostalgia. You can take this Pokemon from cute and adorable to battle-ready action with the change of a pose. Pikachu is a classic example of the amazing creatures we have met over the decades, and the stories that keep us coming back to the Pokemon universe. From the LEGO Pokemon Trainers. Recreating Pikachu's cute and curved shapes and dynamic pose in LEGO bricks was a fun design challenge, and we hope this comes across in your building experience. In LEGO building, the simpler a shape appears, the more challenging it is to build. The bottom of Pikachu's face, for example, uses a combination of clips and bars, reversing the stud's direction to connect it to the rest of the head. Now, LEGO elements helped us recreate Pikachu's smooth shapes, proportions, fierce personality, and, last but not least, the cuteness. Even the tail required design workarounds, and the central support structure had to be sturdy enough to hold 1,300 LEGO elements and still have a hollow space for the secondary stand. You can pose your Pikachu in mid-leap from the Pokeball, ready to jump into action as your battle buddy, or off the structure, just looking straight up adorable. Pikachu is an electric type Pokemon introduced in Generation 1 of Pokemon. It evolves from Pichu when leveled up with High Friendship, and evolves into Raichu when exposed to a Thunderstone. In Alola, Pikachu evolves into an Alolan Raichu when exposed to a Thunderstone. Pikachu has 15 alternate forms that fall into three groups: Cosplay Pikachu, Pikachu in a Cap, and Gigantamax Pikachu. Ordinary Pikachu can Gigantamax into Gigantamax Pikachu if it has the Gigantamax factor. An additional form of Pikachu, called Pale, appears exclusively in Pokemon Pokopia as a character named Pikachu. Another form, the Partner Pikachu, appears exclusively in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. However, it is not described as a unique form in the Pokedex and is only recognized as a form in the game data. Additionally, many other Pikachu variants have appeared in various media. Cosplay Pikachu, Pikachu in a Cap, the Partner Pikachu, and Pikachu with Gigantamax Factor cannot evolve. The Pikachu received at the beginning of Pokemon Yellow version will refuse to evolve into Raichu unless it is traded and evolved on another save file. Pikachu is popularly known as the mascot of the Pokemon franchise and one of Nintendo's major mascots. It is also the game mascot and the player's first Pokemon in Pokemon Yellow version, Special Pikachu Edition, and Pikachu Let's Go Pikachu, as well as in ah, as well as in Pokemon Rumble Blast and Pokemon Rumble World, and has made numerous appearances on the covers of spin-off games. Pikachu is a short, chubby rodent Pokemon. It is covered in yellow fur with two horizontal brown stripes on its back. It has a small mouth, long pointed ears with black tips, and brown eyes. Each cheek has a red circle that contains a pouch for electricity storage. It has short forearms with 5 fingers on each paw, and its feet each have 3 toes. At the base of its lightning bolt-shaped tail is a patch of brown fur. A female Pikachu has a V-shaped notch at the end of its tail, which looks like the top of a heart. It is classified as a quadruped, but it has been known to stand and walk on its hind legs. Therefore, Pikachu is a facultative biped. Pikachu stores electric energy using the small pouches in its cheeks in case it is attacked, so one might feel a small shock if it is touched. These pouches become electronically charged during the night as it sleeps, so a dozy Pikachu may occasionally discharge electricity after waking up. If it does not get enough sleep, it will not be able to release said electricity at its full power. When angered or threatened, Pikachu quickly unleashes the electric energy from its cheeks, which can reach the intensity of a lightning bolt. This also serves as a sign that it's wary, and it will feel stressed if it is unable to fully release the electricity. In Sparks Fly for Magnemite, Pikachu is shown to accumulate energy in its glands, which it will need to eject to avoid complications. When several Pikachu form a group, they are capable of causing thunderstorms by building up electricity. If one Pikachu sees another one who is weakened and in need of help, it revitalizes it by recharging it with an electric shock. However, as seen with Pikachu, overusing this ability alters its physical structure, causing it to lose its ability to generate electricity and its fur to become pale. though it can still manipulate electricity from external sources. In Alola, a plan was recently announced to help build an electric power plant by gathering many Pikachu. If its cheek sacs were very soft and stretchy, this means that it can generate powerful electricity. As shown in Pokemon Sleep, Pikachu is known to emit electricity through its cheeks while sleeping, perhaps because it's dreaming of firing electric shocks. Pikachu is a curious, playful, and intelligent Pokemon who primarily eats fruits and roasts berries with its electricity to make them tender enough to eat. However, it can end up accidentally burning them too much if it underestimates the intensity of its charge, as it has a tendency to blast new things it finds. In The Electric Tale of Pikachu, it is also depicted eating and sometimes destroying telephone poles, wires, and other electronic equipment. Pikachu raises its tail to monitor its surroundings and bites people who yank at it, as it does not like having its tail pulled. While doing this, its tail is sometimes struck by lightning. Wild Pikachu live in forested areas away from people and with others of its own kind in nests, as seen in Pokemon the series episode Pikachu's Goodbye. Such forests are dangerous, though, as trees there are often struck by lightning. When Pikachu meet, their tails make contact and they exchange electricity through them to greet each other. Relatedly, in a plethora of Pikachu, it is shown that Pikachu from Alola are known to greet each other by sniffing one another and rubbing their tails together. In the Pokemon Adventures manga, it is considered exceptionally rare, though it seems to be quite common in Pokemon and other forms of media. Many Pokemon trainers prefer Pikachu's cute appearance over Raichu's, which is why the latter is not commonly seen among them. Because of the popularity of Pikachu themed merchandise, Mimikyu dresses itself in a Pikachu cloth in an effort to look less scary and make friends and appease its loneliness. Unfortunately, its creepy costume only ends up doing the opposite. By occasion, Pikachu can get unintentionally swallowed by Clamorant. While startled, it looks for ways to escape from the latter. Pikachu, along with Pichu and Raichu, is related to Pachirisu. Pikachu and its evolutionary relatives are the only known Pokemon capable of learning the move Volt Tackle. It is also the only known Pokemon capable of using the Z move Catastropika, as well as the only one who can use the Light Ball item. Forms: Pikachu has 16 additional forms that fall into 5 groups: Cosplay Pikachu, Pikachu in a Cap, Gigantamax Pikachu, and Pale Pikachu. Additionally, the partner Pikachu is considered as a form internally in the game data. Many other Pikachu variants also have appeared in various media. Cosplay Pikachu. Cosplay Pikachu is always female and has a black heart-shaped spot at the end of its tail, and can be dressed in any of 5 outfits corresponding to the 5 contest conditions: cool, beautiful, cute, clever, and tough. Pikachu in a Cap. Pikachu in a Cap is always male and has 8 variants, each wearing one of Ash Ketchum's hats from Pokemon the series. This form of Pikachu is somewhat rare and wears the hat of its partner, who is its trainer. The cap is a bit loose because it is not quite the right size, but brims with memories of Pikachu and its trainer's first encounter and is proof that they have traveled through many regions together. Pikachu in a Cap is the only known Pokemon capable of using the Z move 10 million Volt Thunderbolt, but cannot use Catastrophica or Gigantamax. Gigantamax Pikachu. As Gigantamax Pikachu, it becomes larger and chubbier, and its tail becomes longer with 3 red clouds floating around it. The Gigantamax phenomenon expands Pikachu's power and forms its massive body and tail. As a result, the might of Gigantamax Pikachu's electricity is equal to that of a power plant. Despite this, it is difficult to use to power people's homes since it can only remain in this form for a short amount of time. All the electricity it produces in its cheek sacs goes to the tail, enabling it to attack foes in battles with electric jolts as powerful as lightning strikes. Gigantamax Pikachu is the only known Pokemon capable of using the G-Max move, G-Max Volt Crash. Pale Pikachu? This Pikachu's unusual coloration resulted from its sharing its own electricity with sick friends. As a consequence, its physical structure changed and Pale Pikachu became unable to generate its own electricity. However, it can still manipulate electricity if it receives enough charge from an external source. With sufficient electricity, Pale Pikachu can illuminate its surroundings. Partner Pikachu? The partner Pikachu is the Pokemon the player starts with in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. It can be either gender and has a higher base stat than normal Pikachu. The partner Pikachu is not differentiated from a standard Pikachu in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee's Pokedex, and cannot be transferred to other games. The partner Pikachu is the only known Pokemon capable of learning the moves Zippy Zap, Floaty Tail, Splishy Splash, as well as the partner power Pika Papau. Form data. Cosplay Pikachu. Cosplay Pikachu is the base form of a group of 6 interchangeable forms exclusive to Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. It is a female Pikachu who has a black, heart-shaped mark at the end of its tail, obtained from a Pokemon breeder after the player takes part in their first Pokemon Contest Spectacular. Cosplay Pikachu can change forms by dressing up in different costumes corresponding to each of the 5 contest conditions. Cool, beauty, cute, clever, and tough. Each form also automatically learns a move that Pikachu can otherwise not learn. Cosplay Pikachu can change or remove its costume at any contest hall, forgetting the move it learned with the last costume, if it still knows it, and learning the move from the new costume, if applicable. If Cosplay Pikachu removes its costume while the only move it knows is the move tied to its costume, it learns Thundershock. Unlike other Pikachu, Cosplay Pikachu cannot evolve or breed. It also cannot be traded via GTS or Wonder Trade. Additionally, it is not present in any games beside Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Cosplay Pikachu cannot be deposited into the Pokemon Bank, and it does not register as a separate form in Pokemon Bank's Pokedex, despite it registering separately in the Pokedex of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Pikachu in a cap. 6 variants exist in Pokemon Sun and Moon, one for each of Ash's hats from the original series, the Pokemon series, Sun and Moon. A 7th variant debuted in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, wearing the partner cap, Ash's hat from Pokemon the movie I Choose You. An 8th variant debuted in version 1.2.0 update of the Pokemon Sword and Shield, wearing the World Cap, Ash's hat from Pokemon Journeys, the series. Gigantamax. Gigantamax Pikachu can only be obtained through special methods, and the Gigantamax factor cannot be inherited through breeding. Partner Pikachu. The partner Pikachu has a separate internal index from the standard Pikachu. This allows it to have higher base stats than wild Pikachu. The partner Pikachu is not differentiated from standard Pikachu in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee's Pokedex, and it cannot be transferred to another game. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee are 2018 role-playing video games developed by Game Freak and published by the Pokémon Company and Nintendo for the Nintendo Switch. The games are remakes of the 1998 Game Boy title Pokémon Yellow. Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee are part of the 7th generation of Pokemon video games, and are the first main series installments to be released for a home game console. They feature connectivity with the mobile game Pokémon Go and support an optional controller, the Poké Ball Plus. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee were first announced at a Japanese press conference in May 2018, with the intention for the games to bring in newcomers to the series as well as cater to old fans. They were also meant to appeal to a younger audience. For this reason, the games incorporate elements from the anime similar to Pokemon Yellow. The games were released worldwide on The games were released worldwide on November 16, 2018, and received generally favorable reviews from critics, with praise directed at the accessibility and charm, while criticism was directed toward the motion controls. The games have combined worldwide sales of over 15 million as of December of 2022, making them one of the best-selling games for the system. Gameplay: Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee are set in the Kanto region and include the original 151 Pokemon in addition to their respective Mega Evolution forms from Pokemon X and Y, Omega Ruby, and Alpha Sapphire, and their Alolan forms from Pokemon Sun and Moon. The game also features the mythical Pokemon Meltan and Melmetal, which can be transferred from Pokemon Go. Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee are featured common elements of the main series, such as battling non-player character Pokemon trainers and gym leaders with their caught Pokemon creatures. However, when facing wild Pokemon, instead of battling them with the traditional battle system like in games past, the catching of Pokemon uses a system that is reminiscent of the mobile spin off game Pokemon Go. By using the motion controls of the Joy-Con controller or Poké Ball Plus peripheral, players can throw berries to pacify Pokemon or Poké Balls to attempt to capture it. The action can also be performed with a button press when the Joy-Con controllers are docked to the console or in handheld mode, but this still requires using motion controls to aim. If a player uses motion controls, the catching of Pokemon is based on the player's timing rather than accuracy. Although it is possible to miss a throw, the ball is almost guaranteed to make contact with the Pokemon. One notable difference in Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee is that wild Pokemon are visible from the overworld, rather than some random encounters in grass or in caves like in previous main series Pokemon role playing games. The start to encounter with a wild Pokemon, the player must simply approach the Pokemon in the environment. The game's control scheme is designed to only require one Joy-Con per player, and the game support cooperative multiplayer. If another player shakes a second Joy-Con, they can join the current player and are unable to participate in battles with Pokemon trainers and wild Pokemon encounters, allowing them to aid in the catching of wild Pokemon. When playing multiplayer, trainer battles become battles of two Pokemon against one. And in wild encounters, there's the possibility for each player to throw a Pokeball at the same time, doubling the chances of capturing Pokemon. Depending on the version, players can start with either a Pikachu or Eevee, which sits on the player character's shoulder in the overworld. This mechanic is similar to walking Pokemon mechanic first introduced in Pokemon Yellow, in which Pikachu follows behind the player character throughout the game. The player partner's Pokemon wiggles its tails when they are near a hidden item, and it can be dressed up for further customization. Similar to Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, players must also choose a Pokemon to follow them, and some larger Pokemon can be also ridden, a mechanic first seen in Pokemon X and Y and later expanded on in Sun and Moon. Since Pokemon X and Y experience points are rewarded to Pokemon not only when defeating the opponent Pokemon, but also in catching the Pokemon. However, in Let's Go Pikachu, experience points rewarded by catching wild Pokemon are affected by various multiplier bonuses, which, depending on the timing of the throw and the technique used to throw the Pokeball, such as performing an overarm or underarm throw. The games also introduce new items called candies, which are used to power up a Pokemon's statistics such as hit points or HP, attack, defense, special defense, and speed. Different types of candies are awarded to players who transfer their Pokemon to Professor Oak via an in game storage box. Combat Power, or CP, also returns from Pokemon Go. The evolution mechanic from previous games returns in Let's Go Pikachu. However, as with Pokemon Yellow, the player's starting Pikachu cannot evolve. Only other Pokemon that the player has caught, including the ones of the same species as the partner Pokemon. Some features, like Pokemon breeding and HMs, are absent from the game. Connectivity. Players can trade Pokemon and battle other players both locally and online, with online features being simplified in comparison with previous games. Some features, including the global trading system, Wonder Trade, and Battle Spot, are absent from Let's Go Pikachu. In order to connect with others to trade or battle online, players must use a code composed of three Pokemon glyphs, selected from a total of eight. When two players enter the same code, they are connected to trade Pokemon with or battle each other. A subscription to the Nintendo Switch Online service is required to use online functionality. Although Let's Go Pikachu feature integration with Pokemon Go, this is optional. Players can transfer the original first generation Pokemon and their respective Alolan forms from Pokemon Let's Go to Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. They then appear at the Go Park, an in game location where players can explore and interact with. No, an in game location where players can explore and interact with or catch Pokemon that are walking around. Pokemon with higher CP or levels are harder to catch, in that the catch attempt has a higher chance of failing. Users are also able to exchange unspecified gifts between Pokemon Go and Let's Go Pikachu. The games also feature connectivity with the Pokemon Home online cloud storage app, allowing for management of Pokemon between the two games, as well as transferring supporting species into Pokemon Sword and Shield, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Pokemon Violet and Scarlet, and Pokemon Legends ZA, as well as usage within Pokemon Champions, though transferring them into later installments in the series or using them in Champions renders them unable to return to Let's Go Pikachu. Poké Ball Plus. The games support the Poké Ball Plus, an optional controller shaped like a Pokeball, which features an analog stick, motion control support, HD rumble feedback, and lighting effects. The analog stick doubles as a capture button in case the player does not wish to use the motion controls. Pokemon can also be transferred to it in a similar way to the Pokewalker. During Nintendo's E3 2018 Nintendo Direct presentation on 12th of June 2018, it was revealed that the Pokeball Plus would come with a new Mew that can be transferred to the games. Plot. The player and their friend Trace are citizens of Pallet Town, a small town in southwestern Kanto. One day, the famous researcher, Professor Oak, offers to give each of them a Pokemon so they can set off on a Pokemon journey. While looking for Oak, the player finds him at the entrance to Route 1, where they also encounter a peculiar Pikachu and catch it, making it their partner Pokemon, while Trace receives an Eevee from Professor Oak, who also gives each of the two young trainers a Pokedex and asks them to complete it. After delivering Professor Oak's parcel to him from Viridian City, the player's journey begins in earnest. Making it through Viridian Forest, they arrive in Pewter City and defeat Brock, the first one of Kanto's 8 gym leaders, as well as encounter Blue, another Pallet Town trainer, who had set off on his own journey years earlier. In Mount Moon, the player has their first encounter with Team Rocket, an evil organization bent on using Pokemon for their own benefit and profit. They also obtain a fossil and have their first confrontation with the bumbling Team Rocket trio of Jesse, James, and Meowth. Past Mount Moon, the player arrives in Cerulean City, where they defeat Gym Leader Misty, thwart Team Rocket's plan of recruiting new members at the Nugget Bridge, and encounter the famous Pokemon fanatic Bill, who gives them a pair of SS tickets for the SS Anne luxury liner, which is currently docked at Vermilion City. Along the way there, the player meets up with Trace once more and shares one of the tickets with him. Aboard the SS Anne, the player meets up with Blue again, and their partner Pokemon learns the secret technique Chop Down, which grants the player access to the Vermilion City while the SS Anne sails away. After earning the Thunder Badge from Lieutenant Surge, the player has an encounter with Lorelei of the Pokemon League's Elite Four on Route 10, and makes their way through Rock Tunnel to Lavender Town, where an orphan Cubone is kidnapped by the Team Rocket trio and taken to Celadon City. Following them, the player discovers the secret entrance to the Team Rocket hideout at the Rocket Game Corner. The player infiltrates the hideout, where they defeat the Team Rocket trio once more, have their first confrontations with Team Rocket admin Archer and the organization's leader Giovanni, and learn of the team's plan to take over the Sylph Co. in Saffron City. Returning to Lavender Town with Cubone, the player uses the Sylph Scope to identify the ghost blocking the entrance to the highest floor of the Pokemon Tower as Cubone's deceased mother, Marowak, which is calmed down after reuniting with her child and departs to the afterlife. The player stops the Team Rocket trio from kidnapping Mr. Fuji at the top floor and makes their way to Saffron City, where they and Trace encounter Blue once more and storm the Silphco office building, taking down the members of Team Rocket in their way, including Archer and the Team Rocket trio, until the player discovers Giovanni at the top floor. After being defeated, Giovanni has Team Rocket withdraw from Silphco, and the company's president rewards the player with a Master Ball, a prototype Poké Ball that can catch any Pokemon without fail. Following Team Rocket's defeat at Sylph, the player starts gathering the remaining badges, until only one from the closed Viridian Gym remains. While returning to Professor Oak's laboratory for advice regarding the closed gym, the player and Trace meet Blue once more and receive a keystone from him, enabling them both to utilize the phenomenon known as Mega Evolution. During this visit, the Viridian Gym is reopened. Challenging it, the player discovers that Giovanni is actually the final gym leader. Being defeated at his strongest, Giovanni rewards the player with an Earth badge and disbands Team Rocket in order to focus on bettering himself as a trainer. Blue, having previously been asked to take over the Viridian Gym, now finally takes up the offer, with Trace earning his final badge from him soon after. The player then makes their way through Victory Road and reaches the Pokemon League at Indigo Plateau, where the Elite Four awaits their challenge. After defeating the final Elite Four member, Lance, the player learns that Trace defeated the Elite Four first and is now serving as the champion they must defeat in order to claim the position for themselves. The player and Trace clash one more time, with the player eventually emerging victorious, becoming the new champion and entering the Hall of Fame. Following the player's ascension to championship, they learn that elite trainers known as Master Trainers, each of them a master trainer of a certain species of Pokemon, have appeared throughout Kanto. The player travels to Cerulean Cave and catches the legendary Pokemon Mewtwo, also meeting and battling Green, an enigmatic girl who wants Mewtwo for herself. In Team Rocket's hideout in Celadon City, the player meets Archer one more time and learns of his plan to leave Kanto and resurrect Team Rocket someday. The player can also return to the Pokemon League, where Trace will rematch them in an attempt to reclaim his champion title. Once the player has beaten at least 6 master trainers, they find a silent trainer named Red at Indigo Plateau and challenge him to a battle between Pallet Town champions. Features: the partner Pikachu that serves as the player's first Pokemon has higher base stats than regular Pikachu, in addition to having perfect IVs in all of its stats. The partner Pokemon's gender is visible on the title screen during the start of the game. Pikachu, like in all core series games since Pokemon X and Y, is voiced by Ikue Otani. The Joy-Con is used to catch Pokemon by flicking one's wrist in a throwing motion, similar to the method in Pokemon Go. While in handheld mode, wild Pokemon are caught by aiming the Pokeball with motion controls. Wild Pokemon, except for interactive Pokemon, can no longer be battled in a traditional sense, but NPC trainers can be battled as normal. Two-player simultaneous play feature, which can be done by sharing one of the Joy-Con controllers. Both players can adventure at the same time, and one of them may lend a hand by joining in battles against NPC trainers. This feature also increases the chances of catching Pokemon successfully by throwing Pokeballs together at the wild Pokemon. The introduction of 2 new mythical Pokemon, Meltan in its evolved form, Melmetal. Once the player has become the champion, master trainers will appear and can be found scattered throughout the Kanto region. They are considered the strongest trainers for every Pokemon species in Generation 1, and can be spotted by the icon of the Pokemon they favor above their heads. In these battles, the player is allowed to use only a single Pokemon of the trainer's preferred species, and any medicines are prohibited. Gameplay: in addition to customizing the player's skin color and clothing, the partner Pokemon can be dressed in different outfits and be given different accessories and hairstyles. Wild Pokemon now appear in the overworld. Coming into contact with one will engage them. They may appear with either a red or blue aura, which indicates their size, either being larger or smaller, respectively, than their own standard size. Shiny Pokemon in the wild will also appear so in the overworld. A feature called the Catch Combo tracks how many of the same species of Pokemon is caught in a row without the Pokemon running away or the game turning off. The higher the combo, the stronger and rarer the wild Pokemon become, and shiny Pokemon become more common. Several features from past core games have been removed, including the day and night cycle, several moves, including all Z moves, and weather, abilities, several items, held items, breeding, and eggs. A Premier Ball can be obtained as a gift for every 10 Pokeballs of any kind purchased at the Pokemart. Many moves have had their stats and capabilities reworked. For example, Teleport has been given a different effect. Mega Drain, Solar Beam, and Sky Attack have also had their powers significantly increased. Calculations for stats have been changed, allowing for Pokemon to reach much higher stat ceilings than in previous core games. Effort values, or EVs, have been replaced by awakening values, AVs, which can be raised by feeding specific candies. High Friendship can boost all stats by 10% before adding in AVs. The bicycle has been removed. The Miracle Cycle Shop in Cerulean City is replaced with the home of the bike maniac who collects many kinds of bikes. Cycling Road is now redesigned as the Pokemon Road. Some of the bikers, now punk guys and roughnecks, that used to challenge the player there have been moved to near the secret house instead. Candy can be used to increase the AVs of a Pokemon, and is obtained from capturing or transferring Pokemon to Professor Oak, similar to the candy from Pokemon Go. The Pokemon Box, accessible from the bag, replaces the PC, allowing players to switch Pokemon in their party at any point in the game. The player can no longer play minigames on the machines in the Celadon Game Corner because the service desk has run out of coins. However, there are certain spots where the hidden items, such as bottle caps, are recurring once per day in the game corner. The player controls the partner Pikachu for a short time in order to enter the vents and walk over the walls at the Team Rocket hideout for the purpose of obtaining the lift key. The Safari Zone in Fuchsia City is replaced by Go Park, where the player is able to interact with their caught Pokemon. Similar to the box system in the Pokemon storage system, the Go Park complex has a total of 20 Go Parks, with each capable of holding 50 Pokemon. Thus, the player can transfer up to 1,000 Pokemon into the games. If the player has gathered 25 of the same species of Pokemon, they can play a minigame in the park's play yard for candies. Alolan forms are counted as separate species listed in red. The zoo in front of Go Park is now referred to as the Safari Zone. Exclusive new moves are available for your partner Pikachu and Eevee. Pikachu can learn Zippy Zap, Splishy Splash, and Floaty Fall, while Eevee can learn Bouncy Bubble, Buzzy Buzz, Sizzly Slide, Glitzy Glow, Batty Bad, Sappy Seed, Frenzy Frost, and Sparkly Swirl. These moves can be learned from a move tutor in the Pokemon centers of Cerulean City, Celadon City, and Fuchsia City. The partner Pikachu and partner Eevee can activate their own partner powers in battle once they have a high enough friendship. If activated while they are in battle, they use an exclusive move, Pika Papow or VV Volley, which increases in damage based on friendship. If activated while they are not in battle, they boost the stats of the current Pokemon. TMs have been reordered and re-added with some moves previously available via Move Tutor. The amount of TM moves available have also been decreased compared to previous Core Series games. HM moves have been replaced by secret techniques, which the partner Pikachu and Eevee can use in the overworld, but which do not take up move slots. These include Chop Down for Cut, Sea Skim for Surf, and Sky Dash for Fly. Interactive Pokemon such as Electrode, Snorlax, and legendary Pokemon can be battled, but they must be defeated to be captured. A 5-minute time limit is in effect for the battle. If the timer hits 0, the battle ends abruptly. Hitting the home button or putting the console in sleep mode does not pause the timer. Electrode disguised as items are now white on top and red at the bottom, just like real Electrode. Both Snorlax are battled with either an attack or defense stat boost, while all legendary Pokemon have all had their stats increased, similar to Totem Pokemon. All interactive Pokemon are guaranteed at least 3 perfect IVs. The legendary birds, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres, can be encountered as the wild Pokemon in the sky after beating the champion for the first time, and after catching all 3 stationary encounters. Unlike most wild Pokemon, the 3 legendary birds, as well as Mewtwo, will never flee. Development: Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee were unveiled during a press conference in Japan, May 30th, 2018. They are primarily aimed toward a younger audience and those who are new to the Pokemon franchise. At the time of the announcement, the game director Junichi Masuda mentioned that the games had been in development for around 2 years. Masuda also stated that he considered the games to be remakes of Pokémon Yellow, explaining that Yellow resonated best with younger players because it incorporated elements from the Pokémon anime television series. According to Masuda, he decided to make Eevee the mascot for the other game due to its popularity and abundance of fan art. Release: the games were released internationally on November 16, 2018. Bundles of the games with the Poké Ball Plus controller were announced, as well as a Nintendo Switch console bundle, including the games, brown and yellow colored Joy-Con, and a dock with artwork of Eevee and Pikachu. On September 21st, 2018, Amazon began offering pre orders for the Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee Switch bundle. Reception: Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee received generally favorable reviews from critics, according to review aggregator website Metacritic. Fellow review aggregator OpenCritic assessed that the games received strong approval, being recommended by 80% of critics. Critics applauded the gameplay, nostalgia, accessibility to new players, and the charm of the games, while criticizing its motion controls. IGN's Miranda Sanchez praised the game's catching mechanic, which drew inspiration from the gameplay of Pokémon Go. She mentioned that she could prioritize catching the Pokemon she actually wanted and avoiding undesired ones thanks to the game's new overworld view of the Pokemon. The implementation of the motion controls has been criticized by some sources for reducing accessibility to some players with fine motor or physical disabilities. Since I played Pokemon Yellow version for the Mega Bloks Motion Pikachu build, I figured it would be the most appropriate to play the updated remake for the Switch, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. As you can see during some of my gameplay, I did actually have somewhat of a difficult time with the motion controls trying to throw the Pokeball to catch. I do have the Pokeball controller, which I switched to in order to make throwing and catching easier. The Joy-Con tended to skew my throws to being off center or off to the side, which might have been because of where my Switch dock is placed on my TV console. Nevertheless, I do find that this game was pretty enjoyable, and I ended up catching much more footage of playing this game because I was getting lost in my enjoyment for it. Total build time today: 4 hours, 24 minutes, 54 seconds, which means you could watch 12 episodes of Season 2 of Pokemon Adventures of the Orange Isles. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Remember to like, subscribe, share, ring that bell, all the things for the YouTubes. Thank you.